handle the truth.
Could decide the outcome of this presidential election. Yeah. You hear it more than I do. People want to know more about you and about your specific plans. At the debate the other night, you talked about creating an opportunity economy.
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so.
I wonder if we can drill down on that a little bit. When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Simple question. What are one or two things specific to improving the economy? I feel so sorry for this guy. His career is over.
Well, I'll start with this.
Oh, and this one time at band camp?
I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. She was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, you know, construction workers and nurses and teachers. And I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience, you know, but a lot of people will relate to this. You know, I grew up that.
I like what she's doing here. I really do. I really appreciate the background, the backstory. Her mom was a college professor making $150K a year. They had a nice yard. And she really, man, if this is going to change your vote, just leave a comment.
And creating opportunity for people, for example, to start a small business. My mother, you know, worked long hours, and our neighbor helped raise us.
You sit on a throne of lies.
No one calls their neighbor their second mother. And if you believe that, I've got a nice bridge overlooking some beachfront property right here in Arkansas. Kamala Harris mentioned opportunity economy. This is a feel-good story, or this is what she's trying to script. There's no teleprompter, as you can tell. Now, I don't know how much she's had in the bag. This is an important interview. This interview could do more damage to the Kamala Harris campaign than anything else she's done publicly. Because this is the first time she has gone out. They have found a reporter. They handpicked this guy. Handpicked. There's no teleprompter, no script. It's just her being her. And she is about to unburden you by what has been.
She was a small business owner. I love our small business owners. I learned who they are from my childhood. And she was a community leader. She hired locally. She mentored. Our small businesses are so much a part of the fabric of our communities, not to mention, really, I think, the backbone of America's economy. So my opportunity economy plan includes giving startups a $50,000 tax deduction to start their small business. It used to be $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. But investing in people's innovative ideas and giving...
Okay, $50,000 tax deduction for small business. They're not going to give you $50,000 to start a small business. So all of you entrepreneurs that are working out of the trunk of your car, don't get any ideas here. They're going to give you a $50,000 tax deduction for starting a small business. I don't know about you. I've had a couple of small businesses. $50,000, let's just say that's not going to do a whole lot, okay? That's not going to do a whole lot. And it's not to actually help you start the business. It's if you survive that first year under the Harris economy, then you're going to get a tax deduction. Good luck with that. Only new businesses too. So if you're already in business and you're struggling, shit on you.
Giving them the ability to go for it. Opportunity economy means, look, we don't have enough housing in America. We have a housing supply shortage. And what that means, in particular for so many younger Americans, the American dream is elusive. It's just actually not attainable. So part of my plan is to work with the private sector and housing developers to give them a tax credit, to be able to partner with us as the government, to build, and my goal is 3 million new homes by the end of my first term. In addition, to help people who just want to get their foot in the door, literally.
There's a lot of people that came to this country just trying to get their foot in the door. California is trying to help them buy a house. $25,000. House prices just went up. When she opens her mouth, the cost of everything goes up. Everything.
And so giving first-time home buyers a $25,000 down payment assistance to be able to just get in the door, and then they will do the work that they need to do to save and to pay that mortgage and to build wealth for themselves and their family.
$25,000. Okay, right now the economy sucks, thanks to the lady on the screen. Number two, $25,000 down payment is not a whole lot, considering the average cost of a house is $400,000, and most mortgages are wanting 20%. 20%. Okay? Including closing cost. So $25,000 is not going to do anything except make the cost of every house go up by $26,000. Okay? When the American government gets into the home buying business, we're already at a point where the interest on our national debt is higher than our national defense budget. Okay? The interest on our national debt is over $1 trillion.
These are some examples of what I mean when I talk about an opportunity economy, and a lot of it has to do with just the community I was raised in and the people that I admired, who work hard, and deserve to have, their dreams fulfilled because they're prepared to work for it.
You talked at the debate, and
so did you hear anything in that first question that took a little over 3 minutes that said, just a couple of specifics is all he asked for, a couple of specifics that you were going to do to help the economy? Opportunity economy sounds so loving and cuddly. It's like a snuggy blanket that you put your arms through. Sounds so inclusive. We got to use more inclusive terms. This is only going to get better.
and at previous appearances about turning the page on the past. And in fact, here today in Johnstown, you're talking about a new way forward.
Yeah.
I think some people have a question, given maybe your current role as Vice President of the United States, how different you are from Joe Biden. And so I wonder if there are one or two spots, policy areas or approaches where you would say, I'm a different person.
Okay. He was given these questions. He was given the questions. They picked someone. One or two spots, one or two things that differentiate you from Joe Biden. Simple question, right? Now, I want to know from you, how much therapy will this guy need after this interview? And what kind of medication are they both on? Were they sharing? Is there a little flask action getting passed back and forth?
Well, I'm obviously not Joe Biden. And, I offer a new generation of leadership. And so, for example, thinking about developing and creating an opportunity economy where...
We're back to that opportunity economy. I love it. I need a bumper sticker that says opportunity economy.
It's about investing in areas that really need a lot of work. And maybe focusing on, again, the aspirations and the dreams, but also just recognizing that at this moment in time, some of the stuff we could take for granted years ago, we can't take for granted anymore.
I'll tell you a place that could use a little work. Minneapolis. Whenever she stood by and watched it burn.
For example, another plan that I have that is a new approach is to expand the child tax credit to $6,000 for young families for the first year of their child's life, because that is obviously a very critical stage of development of a child. And a lot of young parents need the help to buy a car seat or a crib or clothes for their kids. And so my approach is about new ideas, new policies that are directed at the current moment.
Okay, the current moment in time. The Democrat National Convention had a Terminator bus outside of the Democrat National Convention. So on one side of her mouth, and I don't know where that has been, ask Willie Brown, One side of her mouth, she wants to incentivize people to have children, $6,000 tax credit. On the other side of her mouth, she's got a blue light special in the Terminator bus, Planned Parenthood, outside of the Democrat National Committee, also giving the snip. Okay, you could go get, you could go take care of business, so you could have a nice weekend, get a bag of peas, right?
And also, to be very honest with you, my focus is very much in what we need to do over the next 10, 20 years to catch up to the 21st century around, again, capacity, but also challenges.
Crime and public safety are
Was he asleep? Was he asleep?
two major issues right at the forefront of voters' minds. In Philadelphia as well, where crime is a significant issue. When we talk about crime, the conversation turns to gun safety as well. And I think you actually probably caught a lot of people off guard, maybe a bit by surprise in the debate the other night when you mentioned that you are a gun owner. I know you said it in 2019 as well. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about your values on...
She said a lot of things in 2019 that have been proven to be a lie, like fracking. If you believe Kamala Harris is a gun owner, leave a comment down below. I'll help you find a therapist in your neighborhood.
On this issue, when it comes to gun ownership, where do you draw the line in America on gun ownership and gun use?
Well, like you said, Brian, I am a gun owner, and Tim Walz, my running mate, is also a gun owner. We're not taking anybody's guns away. I support the Second Amendment, and I support reasonable gun safety laws. Part of my...
What is reasonable for this lady? Reasonable gun safety laws. Her and Tim Walz had to cut this interview a little short because they were going to go duck hunting, right? They're going to go meet up with Ted Nugent, go do a little hog hunting. We're coming for you, baby.
My approach to this is, I was a career prosecutor for most of my career. I have personally prosecuted homicide cases. I have personally looked at autopsies. I have personally seen what assault weapons do to the human body.
I have seen what medication does to brains that are voting for Kamala Harris.
And so I feel very strongly that it is consistent with the Second Amendment and your right to own a gun to also say we need an assault weapons ban. They're literally tools of war.
Is there anyone in the comments that owns an assault weapon? Okay? I would love to know. Because I don't think you can buy those. You got to have a Class 3 license, FFL. I know a little bit about that.
War. They were literally designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. I say we need universal background checks. The majority of NRA members support that. Why? Because it's just reasonable. You just might want to know before someone can buy a lethal weapon if they've been found by a court to be a danger to themselves or others. You just might want to know.
The FBI knew a couple of different occurrences, all these shootings, all these incidents at some schools. They knew about that, right? They knew about that. They didn't act. They didn't do a damn thing about that. Nothing.
Two final questions, if I might.
Sure.
On the appeal of the man you were running against, as you drove here today, you likely saw a lot of Trump signs. Mm-hmm. He has an historic appeal in this country. And as you are someone running against him and trying to understand that, I wonder how you distill it. What do you understand his appeal to be? And how do you speak to his voters? Or maybe people who just share his values but are open to something else?
I, based on experience and a lived experience, no. In my heart, I know, in my soul, I know that the vast majority of us as Americans have so much more in common than what separates us. And I also believe that I am accurate in knowing that most Americans want a leader who brings us together as Americans and not someone who professes to be a leader who is trying to have us point our fingers at each other.
The entire debate, all Kamala did was attack Donald Trump. There are many channels on YouTube, Midas Touch, big shout out, that all they do is make videos. Trump is bad, Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. You've seen it. You've probably got family members that quit talking to you because you point out things to them that they can't handle.
You can't handle the truth!
I think people are exhausted with that approach, to be honest with you. I think people want a leader who has common sense and tries to find common ground. I'm supported by over 200 Republicans who worked for both Presidents Bush, John McCain, and Mitt Romney. I'm supported by...
That is nothing to be proud of.
...the former Vice President Dick Cheney.
The Democrats called Dick Cheney basically a war criminal for the better part of 10 years. And now that Dick Cheney is, in the bag enough to support Kamala Harris because she's pro-war, now the Democrats are hanging their hat on Dick Cheney, same person that literally shot someone in the face and sent a lot of young men and women that are walking around now with bad legs and missing body parts to Iraq looking for WMDs. Another video, another topic. May have known about 9/11.
Former Congress member Liz Cheney. And I think people are more willing now, in light of the hate and division that we see coming out of Donald Trump, to say, hey, let's put country first. And I think that just makes us stronger and more healthy as a country. To say, look, we can all debate our differences around, various policies, but let's stop with the division. Like, enough of that. Let's bring everybody together.
And finally, as you introduce yourself to America in a new way, they've heard much of your story at the Democratic National Convention and in that debate earlier this week. If there's one thing that you wish Americans knew about who Kamala Harris is that you don't think they know yet, what would that be?
Oh, wow. I don't know how much more unburdened by what has been that I can be. I don't know how much more I want to know about this. I'm all in, right? Everything's good so far. She's supported by Liz Cheney. She wants to give more free stuff to migrant newcomers. She's not about spreading hate. This is all love, all love.
I don't know. Probably it's not very different from anybody watching right now. I love my family. One of my favorite things that I lately have not been able to do is Sunday family dinner. I love to cook.
Oh, yeah, them greens in the bathtub.
I have incredible friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still my best friend.
I think your best friend from kindergarten might have been one of the debate moderators. Gave you those nice little Bluetooth earrings, right? Notice this interview is done by an ABC network. ABC, Disney, fiction, cartoons, all bad.
I think that, I have a career that really, and I said it the other day, as a career prosecutor, I never asked a victim of crime, were they a Republican or a Democrat. The only thing I ever asked them is, are you okay? And I think that's the approach that most Americans want, regardless of who they voted for in the last election, in terms of turning the page and charting the way forward.
I imagine you're looking forward to cooking Sunday dinner again.
I am looking forward. Yes, I am looking forward to cooking. With the whole family gets involved, the kids each have their role. Yeah.
What a powerful interview. I think that's going to change many votes. That interview is going to change many, many votes. Many of you watching are going to be unburdened by what has been. That interview is going to change many votes. I know all of you have now been unburdened by what has been. Veteran Bikers out.